So what is API?
API.
Application Programming Interface. A fancy name for something which is basically does communication stuff. And that's basically it.
Is a way for two computers to talk to each other.
Is the messenger that takes requests and tells a system what you want to do.
You can think of it as it is a messaging app between two different people in two different locations. For example, let's say you just want to order a pizza because you don't have a mom at house. You go to your favorite pizza website, you choose your favorite topping, size, type in your delivery address, and just wait for your pizza to arrive at your house. But as if you are a software engineer, you probably know that if you allow yourself to think that how does application work is easy, it is a warning to you that it is not. An exact case is here. In order to proceed your delivery, about 3 to 10 APIs is working just to make sure that your order is the right place at the right time. In order to proceed your order, your computer sets a request to the main computer, which have stored all the data about the pizzas, and the main computer, which is basically called by a server, makes another API request to your computer to show you the price and the delivery time. Also, website uses another API to proceed your online payment, if you of course use them. And then another API sends you a confirmation email about your order, and after you confirm it, your order is on the way. But before that, another API has to give all the data about your order to the pizza delivery guy. For example, your name, location, and if you didn't make an online payment, how much money this guy have to take from you. And all these things, which is a magic for an average user, happens without having you to know about all that going on the back end. And this is basically the most beautiful side of the software engineering, basically. You just click on order button, make a payment, and delivery guy is on your door. You can use API and don't even understand that you are using the API. For example, you want to build a website which, let's say, sells something online. You will need some way to proceed payments. Stripe's API, which proceeds payments, can help you. Basically, you can create a new campaign, link your credit card or debit card, and every new payment is gonna come to your card. The same thing applies for modern games. Maybe game developers decided to use some kind of API to proceed the payment. As I said, for example, Stripe's API. Okay, let's dive into technical side. There is types of APIs, and the most popular one is called REST API. You don't need to remember this phrase. I'm just saying it for someone who is preparing coding interview. As I said, the API has its own rules or the principles it has to follow to be called an API. For example, first principle of every API is that every data or resource it has on it has its own unique API. For example, basically, let's compare a REST API to an e-commerce website. E-commerce websites usually sell products instead of data. Their resource is a product which they are selling. So it means that every product has its own unique identifier. URL to the product is something similar to this. Instead of product ID, what you will usually see, some kind of characters which are hard to understand. And on the popular websites, it made for cybersecurity reasons. URL, which I just showed you, can be different depending on the API which you are using. For example, I have tried to use a YouTube's API. It doesn't work the same way, which I showed you in an example. The principle number 2 is that every request your API sends or receives from your browser, it has its own method of receiving or sending the data/resource. There are 4 main methods of how you can use data via API. In short, it's called CRUD, or otherwise create, put, update, and delete. Or in the code, you will usually use it as a post, get, put, and delete methods. Get method is, you guess it, for getting the information or the data from the API, or in other words, reading the data from the API. You are not doing anything with the data, you're just receiving it to your local computer. Next one is post method, or create method, is adding the new data on the main resource. For example, let's say you want to add a new product on your e-commerce website. So you have to add to the products web page a new product with a unique identifier, so then people can access your new product. Put method. Basically what it's doing is just updating an existing product on your API. Maybe you want to change the price of your product. Maybe you want to change any kind of data which is existing product on your website. And finally, delete is for deleting the product or the data from your resource. The last principle is that every response that API sends or receives indicating whether the request was successful or not. For example, 200 means everything went well and you were okay. Code 400 means that something probably went wrong. 401 means that you have to provide some credentials and authorize yourself because, there might be some hackers which want to use the API for bad things and you have to authorize because you want to use it for good reason. 401, which is most popular basically because programmers sometimes forgot to delete some links to their article or product or whatever. Delete the product which was previously existing on your website and people want to get access to it by clicking some kind of link on your old YouTube video. That's why the code 404 appears on the web page. 400 means that something went wrong on the server side. Let me give you an example of the successful request which you can make and how it looks in real life. Here it is. This response tells you that the request was successful and returns the data of the movie in a format called JSON, which is a common way of representing data in modern APIs. I hope that you find this video helpful, educational at least. Do not forget to subscribe and like this video if you truly love this content. If you want to see the full potential of API, please check out my previous video about how I used YouTube's API to make this cool video. This video has X amount of views. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episodes. Peace.